Welcome, elected members, staff, guests, and members of the public to the ordinary council meeting of the 14th of May 2025, and I now declare this meeting opened at 5:30 p.m. Just to say, it's great to see so many people here. The news of the Dunsborough meeting must have spread, so it was good. Or you may notice we've got a bit of new equipment here today. So just be mindful that it is our first council meeting using it, so there may be some teething problems, but we hopefully will survive, and hope that you can all see the information that is on the board at the moment. Can everyone read that okay? That's brilliant. That's a thumbs up. It's a good start straight away. So, look, the City of Busselton acknowledges the Wardandy and Bibliman people as the traditional custodians of this region and pays our respect to those elders past and present. The meeting is being audio recorded, hopefully, and this is for minute-taking purposes. It's also being live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, so you can watch it on there. And this evening, the prayer is being read by Pastor Joe O'Donovan. Pastor, if you'd like to come up and just flick the power. Oh, if you'd like to just flick the mic on, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just thought I might read 3 verses of scripture which hopefully will encourage you. It says, this is from Paul's letter to Timothy, and he says, therefore I exhort first of all that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and givings of thanks be made for all men, for kings and all who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and reverence. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's you, that the church is encouraged, nay, instructed to pray for you, not just once a year, but regularly. And so having that in mind then, I would like to just offer my prayer. Father in heaven, we praise you and we bless you. You're a mighty God, and Lord, we thank you for your instruction to your church, irrespective of what the congregation be. We know that there is only one church here in Busselton, Lord, and Christians of different denominations are called upon to pray for these people, because we recognize that they are in authority over us. And sure, there are other levels of authority too, Lord, but we focus on this one tonight. And I pray, Father, that your wisdom and your love and grace and mercy would be upon these people as they make decisions that affect the whole of the people of Busselton and surrounding areas, Lord. And I pray, Lord, that even those who acknowledge you and those who are unaware of your presence, Lord, but that you might show influence upon them, Father, and that they will make decisions that are the very best for the city and the people of Busselton. I ask you this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Joe. Appreciate that. Before, yeah, do it quietly. Before I move on to attendance, I'd like to actually welcome the Shire President and the Shire CEO from Augusta Margaret River, who are here today. So thank you for your attendance. Making me a little bit nervous, but I appreciate that. So that's Julia Meldrum and Andre Selvey. So thank you for your attendance. And you can see all our new equipment, which is quite cool. So in attendance today, we have Councillor Anne Ryan, Councillor Lee, Councillor Craig, Councillor McNeish, Councillor Kennedy and Councillor Beecroft. And we have an apology from Councillor Love and approved leave of absence from Councillor Kate Cox. I'd just like to say that on behalf of the Council, I give my condolences to the family of Mr. Rob Tognella. Mr. Tognella served as a councillor from 1988 to 1994 and was the Shire President from 93 to 94. Mr. Tognella made significant contributions that have had a lasting impact on our community, particularly his early involvement in the very beginning of the Busselton Airport project, which stands as testament to his vision and an unwavering commitment to the betterment of our community. His contributions will not be forgiven. And I pass on those condolences to his wife as well. We have some disclosures of interest on item 16.1, which will be read out closer to the time. And we now move on to item 5.2, which is question time for public. And I just want to remind the members of the public, this is an opportunity to ask questions of council about matters that are relevant to the city. And I'll take this opportunity to remind everyone that the public question time is conducted according to the council's meetings, information sessions and decision-making processes, policies and the city's standing orders. And I have received one booking for a public question time tonight from Ebony Tepto. I will remind that this is a question, it's not an opportunity to have a large preamble. So I just appreciate that we have a full booking and I have a large number of people presenting parties with an interest tonight. So I will be trying to keep this to the time scale. So Ebony, if you'd like to come forward. If you could just state your name and where you're from, I appreciate it. Thank you for the record. You can sit down, yes, if you wish.
I'm Ebony Treptow and I live in the Injured Up area of Yallingup. I'll keep mine very short. On the 7th of November 2024, I requested the city undertake a compliance investigation on an unapproved home business operating a large-scale fitness gym in the rural residential area of Injured Up in Yallingup. For more than 6 months, I have been liaising with the city compliance officer at the City of Busselton to have this unapproved business cease operating. However, this gym continues to operate today without community support. Why is the city allowing this and why has it taken so long to resolve this matter satisfactorily?
Thank you, Mr. Treptow. I will pass this to the CEO to respond.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the question. Look, that one's actually a current ongoing compliance matter as well. So I think for this particular one, Ebony, if we could, we'll grab your details. I think we've probably already got them as well, but we'll get the compliance staff to get in touch with you and go over that and give you some background and give you an update as well.
That's fine. I've been waiting for meetings and etc. for many, many months, so a resolution would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Having a gym commence at 5 a.m. in the morning in a rural residential area is not what anyone wants. So we do need it ceased immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Treptow.
Thanks very much for your time.
We will get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Do I have any other members of the public who'd like to ask a question? The lady over there, sorry, if you can come forward and... For the record, just name and where you're from. Thank you.
Hello, it's Tash Blafari here. I'm from Dunsborough Soccer, from Dunsborough, obviously. I didn't get a chance to speak last week in Dunsborough because there were so many people there, so take my opportunity now. I've just got 3 quick questions and a short preamble for each. So my first question is about the petition our club submitted in October last year to council. It had over 400 signatures from our membership community. We've submitted this in accordance with the council requirements and it's now been over 6 months and we haven't received an update. Our club has a membership group of over 900 people who are asking why has there been no response to our petition. And does the CEO and council believe it's reasonable to not provide an answer after all this time, especially when all we've asked for is a like-for-like facility to our current own little modest facility that was originally promised?
Thank you. Mr. Seeger?
Well, sorry, can I just, what was the first question, Natasha, sorry?
It's about the petition and why it hasn't been
Why it
responded.
hasn't been presented to...
It has been presented to council, and the outcome of that was that there was a report to be prepared by the CEO. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
we're
correct.
just
So the reason it hasn't gone to council at this point in time is that we were waiting on further information, particularly around design and the further development of the facility at the Dunsborough Lakes Sporting
precinct.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So now that obviously we were on site last week, and the visit to Dunsborough has put that more into a bit more clarity, and we've got some more figures and things, so we can start putting that together now.
Okay, thank you. My second question is about that same pavilion. As we're all aware, the cost estimation now is in the order of $6.5 million. We're concerned that there's been no feasibility study that was ever carried out to properly assess the facility requirements, and there's currently no operational or management plan that's been developed or agreed to by council officers throughout this process. These concerns have been
I will press
raised.
you for the question, sorry. It is
Sorry.
just a question of time.
Yep.
You can always present, like last week, to
That's
the
right.
council at any time you want.
So we've raised these concerns over many years. My question is, why hasn't this been done, the feasibility study done, and why hasn't a proper management or operational plan been developed for stakeholder review so that we can understand what the cost implications for those stakeholders will be for ongoing use?
I'll pass this to, or we'll take that one on notice, I think.
Happy to also add, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
So also we are operating on the previous council decision in February 2024 that they've asked the staff to go away and do the final design and go out to tender for the site that was preferred as per that resolution back in 2024. So that's the process we've been working on at the moment. If there's other tasks to come in with that, we'll have to look at that as we move along.
Yes, please, could you? And my third question is in relation to the discussions I had with council officers a couple of weeks ago. They advised that the CEO has signed off on it to go to tender. However, we understand that it's still only at concept design stage. So how can we go to tender with no detailed design?
Ms. Seeger?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't aware of that conversation, but the council decision was to go to detailed design and then tender, so it's at detailed design at this point to be able to go to tender.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Walsh?
Could I please ask a question?
Sorry, just for the record, your name and where you're from. Sorry, it
Yeah,
has to be
I
recorded.
know, right, getting right there. Can I please ask a question on behalf of Ms. Susan Teal of West Busselton? She couldn't be here tonight.
I mean, she can always send the question in to us. We don't. I'll let it pass this time, but generally it would be.
It's
the
pretty
person.
quick. Yeah, thank you.
With no preamble, please.
No. She says, has there been any progress on the City of Busselton survey on the homeless in the Busselton region?
Okay, we dealt with this one last time, I believe, but yeah.
I think the answer was no.
Yes, I think the answer.
Same
was no.
answer?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Any further questions?
Jane Bennett Yoganup, and this is just on behalf of Busselton Area Ratepayer and Residents Association. We've had a number of residents concerned recently finding out about the tip hours being reduced. Just wondering what the reason is for that.
Through the chair, thanks, Mrs. Bennett, for the question. The tip hours have been changed just to meet some operational requirements to focus on some more health and safety so we can service the community better. Those tip changes will occur after as of the 1st of July. So there'll be further information coming out to the community and also to everybody coming through the gate as well with some flyers, some updated flyers.
Okay, so second question is just wondering what public consultation has been undertaken to consider the potential negative impacts on residents and businesses?
Yeah, so we've sent out notices and social media notices to let people know what we needed to do, which we've done.
So do residents have any say in that decision?
Not at this point in time. That's the management requirements we have for the site.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions? No further questions. I will now move on to presentations by a party with interest. And our first speaker is Dane Gaunt from Rise Urban, and you have 5 minutes. And we have a new timer, so this will help you.
Thank you, Mayor, councillors and staff for the chance to speak today. As you said, my name's Dane Gaunt from Rise Urban, and I represent the Dunsborough East landowner group, who comprise the land to the east and the northeast of Lot 6 Commonage Road. That's the item I'll be speaking on tonight. I'm here to speak in support of the residential development of Lot 6 and a more strategic and practical approach to land use planning in Dunsborough. Since late 2021, housing affordability in Dunsborough has worsened considerably. Median house prices have jumped 72%, from $65,000 to $1.165 million. Rents are up 45%, now sitting at an average or median of $800 a week. This is creating real pressure on families, workers, and local businesses. During this time, most of Dunsborough's residential land has been supplied through Dunsborough Lakes. However, the final stage of that estate is now completed, and no significant affordable land supply will be available in this area until either Lot 6 or Dunsborough East is developed. Dunsborough has an immediate housing crisis, not an employment crisis. Unlocking Lot 6 for residential development is an important step in helping ease that pressure. This land hasn't attracted any industrial activity for more than 20 years, and with very good reason. There is limited market demand for more industrial land in Dunsborough, and it's not well located for that purpose. Maintaining industrial zoning doesn't serve the community, using it for housing does. And this isn't just about Lot 6. These issues are present at Dunsborough East as well. These locations aren't suited to industrial use. They're poorly connected to major roads and right next to existing and future homes. Both Lot 6 and the Dunsborough East area are traversed by a major creek line flowing into the Toby Inlet, and I believe councillors were made aware of that this last week at the CAS in Dunsborough. Industrial development around and adjacent to this creek line could have significant environmental impacts, whereas these impacts can be more easily managed in a residential context. The original industrial zoning of Lot 6 in 2000 and the zoning of industrial land more generally and elsewhere in the southwest through the Superdowns projects were often based on high-level economic targets rather than actual demand or suitability. The result is underutilised land, planning headaches, and lost opportunities for housing. We can and should do better, and the designation of Lot 6 for residential is a good starting point. If we're going to plan for more industrial land, it needs to be done carefully with a clear-eyed look at infrastructure, environmental values, compatibility with surrounding uses, and actual demand. That needs to happen at the citywide level through the local planning strategy, not through piecemeal amendments or speculative knee-jerk rezonings. It's important to understand how our region actually functions. Dunsborough, Vass and Busselton aren't isolated towns and cities, they're part of a connected regional economy. In 2021, over 400 people commuted from Vass to Dunsborough daily for work. Nearly 350 went the other way. The average drive time is 17 minutes. That's not a problem, that's a strength. In fact, Dunsborough's commute time is on par with some of the best performing regional towns and cities around the world. It also signifies the efficient use of land for economic activity. Through the designation of Lot 6 for residential use, it's encouraged to see that Dunsborough is not falling into the trap of thinking every town needs to duplicate every land use. Industrial jobs are already well catered for in nearby properly zoned and planned areas like Vass Light Industrial Area, Chapman Hill Road, and the emerging area at Airport North. Dunsborough already has extensive service commercial offerings, with more underway at the Cove Business Park. A recent Urbis commercial needs assessment, which will be available to council through the Dunsborough East project, shows a significant supply of underdeveloped industrial and service commercial land. It highlights the key role of areas like Vass, which remains 60% vacant, and the challenges of establishing light industrial locally due to residential conflict, limited demand, stronger competition elsewhere in the city, poor regional access, and workforce constraints. This isn't just my view. In its report on the Dunsborough Planning Investigation Area, which the city gained through FOI, the Department of Planning, Lands and Heritage has said that decisions about new industrial land should be made through the broader strategic planning processes, that is, the local planning strategy and scheme review.
Thank you.
I've got about 20 seconds. If that's it. Further, in the report to Council on Amendment 58 in March 2023, city officers acknowledged that Dunsborough may not be the right place to deliver all of the district's future industrial land needs, and capacity may need to be located elsewhere at Vass, Chapman Hill Road and Airport North. So my ask to Council is simple. Support the progression of Lot 6 for residential use. We urgently need more housing, and this land is well placed to help meet that need. And number two, don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Avoid locking in more industrial zoning in places that aren't fit for it, and instead ensure that future employment land is identified through an evidence-based and holistic process. Thank you.
Next, we have Fraser McInnes from Urban Quarter. And you have 5 minutes, and then you'll find that the microphone switches off.
Right, I'll speak on. Yeah, thanks very much for the introduction. As mentioned, I'll be speaking on behalf of the proponent, Urban Quarter, regarding Lot 6, the local structure plan and the scheme amendment.
Sorry, if you can just, I would ask that the people in the gallery remain quiet if they can. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'll continue on. Firstly, I just want to say my appreciation for the opportunity to present to the City of Busselton staff and the councillors last week. Wasn't lost on me, I guess, the thought and consideration from you guys that's gone into the project, and I guess to make sure that the delivery of the future works is to a really high standard. So, appreciate your time and feedback last week. Overall, the proponent supports the local government officer recommendation to proceed with the public advertising. For background, the process to date has been a 5-year period of engagement and consultation to get us to where we are now, involving a lot of the key stakeholders ranging from City of Busselton staff, the engineering and planning department, senior management, City of Busselton councillors, the DPLH, the Dunsborough reference groups with in-person and on-site meetings, the Dunsborough East expansion area landowners, neighbouring landowners, a survey from the existing Dunsborough Lakes residents for their feedback for improvement for our future works, as well as assessment from the Southwest Design Review Panel, which we believe has led us to arriving to where we are now, which we think is a extremely responsive site, especially to the environmental values of the land, and provides opportunity for us to create a unique location for future residents and to the wider public to enjoy. We have reviewed the City of Busselton officer's recommendation and the areas that are mentioned in this. However, we do not believe there are any material matters that would defer public advertising of this project, and these matters that were raised in the officer's recommendation can be dealt with through the advertising phase and in the detailed design and delivery of the project. Throughout the journey, we believe that we have listened to council, community groups and key takeouts from the Design Review Panel assessment and committed to the following key areas through the local structure plan from this consultation: regarding tree retention, a generous lot mix, local amenity provision, having density precincts within walkable catchment of the local centre, retention of vegetation with the site having above 30% public open space provision, a 20-metre vegetated buffer to Commonage Road, providing a buffer to the adjoining properties. And we also feel like we've learnt valuable lessons along the way of the delivery of Dunsborough Lakes to make sure that our future project of Lot 6 is going to be a level up from what we've delivered to date, However, much of the feedback provided from the residents from Dunsborough Lakes we feel will be dealt with through a more detailed design phase of the project and future delivery of it. As previously mentioned, we are welcome and expecting and receiving feedback on this project as it proceeds to public advertising from the relevant agencies and authorities, and importantly, the local community, to ensure all parties and stakeholders are heard and their advice considered and potentially implemented. Urban Quarter, from anecdotal experience, we're acutely aware of the land supply issue within this region. With now having Dunsborough Lakes sold out, which was the key land supply for the area, there is now very limited land supply or other availability. This will impact all segments of the market, most notably the local home buyers, but also has a flow-on effect to local business, local trades, and the economy with that business-to-business activity due to the lag which is now likely to be experienced. Therefore, we deem it as necessary that Council support the officer recommendation to commence public advertising, and we look forward to your support in enabling this. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Fraser. Now we have Lee Bingman. Also talking on item 12.1.
May I? I have copies here for the councillors. Are we able to distribute those now?
You may do, yes.
Thank you.
Pass it direct to Darby, I'm sure he will. Yeah, if you can start now if you wish. Yeah.
My name is Lee Bingaman. I reside at 335 Commonage Road. Mayor Cronin and councillors, thank you for granting me this opportunity to address you with my concerns regarding Lot 6. The EPA and the DPLH require a modification to obtain a compliant structure plan by addressing the lack of sufficient buffer of the southern boundary. This is my boundary and the only boundary on the south side. My 8.5 acres is zoned rural, and I am the only neighbour of this 54-hectare development. My husband and I purchased this property in 2007, knowing that one day this Lot 6, owned by Luke Atkins' mother Elizabeth, would be rezoned. My family and I are not opposed to development. However, we think there should be more careful consideration in this instance between a rural property and an urban development. The Atkins and the Bingaman families have been in discussion for some time regarding larger blocks being necessary. It is extremely important that the R10 zoning adjoining my property remains. The developers have failed to address the EPA and the DPLH requirements and are suggesting a mere 6 metre buffer, which includes a 2 metre PAW to nowhere, when a house in Busselton is required to have a minimum of 4 metre setback and frequently a 6 metre. It can be seen how grossly inadequate a 6 metre buffer is separating this urban development from a rural zoned property. This is a circumstance of a sensitive rural property, the only one adjoining a proposed urban development. Therefore, consideration should be given to a minimum 20 metre buffer, which is the minimum prescribed for Commonage and Genoli Road. Presently, there's a significant amount of public open space, as noted in the structure plan, which means the developers could easily modify their plan without affecting their yield. The proposed 6 metre buffer fails in every aspect in meeting the requirements of security, fire, noise, visual amenity, visual impact, visual landscape planning, and separation distances. Most importantly, it also fails to meet the requirements of the DPLH and the EPA. Mayor and councillors, all I seek is a minimum 20-metre buffer between my property and the proposed development with the retention of the R10 zoning, with R20 to 30 being totally inappropriate adjoining my property. In this regard, Mayor Cronin and councillors, may I respectfully invite you to visit my property in order for you to assess my concerns for the future of such an extensive development before you evaluate the results from the advertising of the structure plan and the community consultation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bidner. Next, I have Scott Berryman from Silverdale Hospitality Pty Ltd on item 14.2, which is the RFT 25009, the Boston Jetty Tourist Park Management. Good evening.
Hello.
Just
Scott Berryman, owner of Silverdale Hospitality. Thanks for the opportunity to present to you today for the management contract for Busselton Jetty Tourist Park. I just really wanted to come along today to put a face to our tender application and just give you a bit of an overview of our company. We're a family company. We have extensive experience in the running of tourist parks. We've been running tourist parks for over 10 years, and a number of them from quite small tourist parks to extremely large tourist parks, in excess of 300 and 400 sites and 40-odd cabins. We have been very successful in doing this. We've won quite a few awards. In fact, we actually won an award on Monday at the CPAC, which is Caravan Parks Association Queensland, for the Good Corporate Citizen Award, which is an award for accessible tourism. We go up against 250 plus parks. We have also won an award for ecotourism, which we believe is the two major parts of running a tourist park and things that we as a company try and focus on immensely. We put a lot into our company. We believe that it's a family company, so we believe that we try and keep it not too big, not too small. We always buy local. We always invest in local infrastructure. We own a lot of property here in Busselton. This is actually our hometown, although we reside on the Gold Coast. Yeah, that's about it. I just really wanted to point out that we're a small company and we're extremely interested in the contract of running the Busselton Jetty Tourist Park, and we have great experience. I think we're about 8 or 9 awards deep at the moment for running tourist parks. We've run tourist parks all over the Gold Coast. So we've worked with 3 different councils, one of them being the biggest is the Gold Coast Council. We've now worked with them for over 10 years, redeveloped parks. We're actually going through another cycle with them at the moment, doing major underground works, introducing cabins, rezoning for pet-friendly, all that sort of stuff. And also we've worked in the Northern Rivers of New South Wales. We work with the Tweed Shire Council there. We run a park in Pottsville, which is a very small town. In fact, you can barely get phone reception there, which is a good place to visit sometimes. And also right down in Irrabadella Shire, in Bateman's Bay, we run a Big 4 down there for a few years ago. So thank you for the opportunity presenting. Just wanted to put a face to the tender application.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Next, I have Rhonda Stubbs on item 17.1, notice of motion, Busselton War Memorial. Good evening, Rhonda.
Rhonda Stubbs from Busselton, Geograph. Mr Mayor and councillors, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to make this presentation to Council in support of Councillor Ryan's motion, item 17.1, on the agenda for tonight's meeting on the Busselton War Memorial. As I stated in my earlier presentation, in March 2023 to the Council relating to the proposed Rotary Park Memorial, I feel very strongly about this matter and the preservation of our cultural history. The RSL's War Memorial in Rotary Park is now a fait accompli. Moving forward from that, I urge Council to seriously consider voting in favour of the motion for the following reasons, as I believe it is a step in the right direction. I have read the officer's comments on the motion, and I have to say I am somewhat encouraged by the officer's recommendations. Somewhat. However, it saddens me to witness a lack of preservation and due respect paid to the cultural connections in this town over the 30+ years my family have lived in Busselton. There appears to be an attitude that artworks, constructions, places of interest or of note can be left to decay and fall into disrepair to such an extent that they are no longer able to be repaired, and or the cost of such repair is far too exorbitant to warrant preservation. The cases in point that I know about, the footbridge over the Vass River between Rotary Park and Peel Terrace is no longer there. It became unsafe many years ago, had to be access restricted, and it was removed. End of story. The pylons are still there for the birds. The second point, the smaller section of the original Busselton jetty, which was used for swimmers, particularly the young ones, and part of swimming lessons. Seasonal storms slowly wore away at the construction until it was no longer safe to use, irreparable, and eventually falling into the ocean and being removed. Third one, the artwork, originally created by local primary school children during a festival workshop around the late 1990s, and was located on the Prince Street wall of the Telstra building for many years. Unfortunately, this was vandalised and removed for repair, and eventually left to rot on the ground, unprotected in the then Shire's depot grounds. What kind of a message does this send to those children who are now adults in this town? How valuable or not were their contributions to their own town? In closing, I certainly do not want to see this happen to the War Memorial, located in Victoria Square. Considering the apparent lack of care and timely maintenance for several areas witnessed over the years that are sadly no longer part of Busselton. In my opinion, it does seem at times there is a distinct lack of appreciation from our civic leaders for Busselton's culture of the past. So I urge Council to support this particular motion and continue to preserve our local culture, and I mean all cultures, for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Next, I have Michelle Shackleton talking on the same item, 17.1.
Good evening, councillors, and thank you for the opportunity. Michelle Shackleton from Abbey. I am here sitting before you with a heartfelt plea urging you to support Anne Ryan's motion aimed at preserving our historic Anzac Memorial. This monument isn't merely a stone structure, it embodies the dedication, sacrifices and indomitable spirit that once defined our community. Today it's a place of deep sadness and pride for families whose loved ones are immortalised there. The Busselton Soldiers Memorial Committee, chaired by G.W. Barnard, was formed in 1916 and worked well into 1920 towards its completion. A flagpole was donated by Mr Hadley in time for the unveiling by General Birdwood on Anzac Day 1920, marking a significant chapter in our local history. The monument was built by the community, and following the unveiling, the Busselton Municipal Council were asked to take over the memorial in trust for the people of Busselton, for the district, beg your pardon. The word custodian gets thrown around a lot since the completion of the new RSL memorial. I would very much like this issue to be cleared up, as it seems to cause so much upset for so many. A custodian is a person who is responsible for taking care of or protecting something. We know this Busselton sub-branch of the RSL have never seriously expended any club finances toward maintenance of this monument, and if they were indeed custodians, wouldn't you expect it to be in a better state of repair, beg your pardon? I wouldn't expect a custodian to be so hell-bent on preventing the public from holding a commemoration at this thing that they're supposed to protect. Officially chartered in 1917, the Busselton sub-branch of the RSL provides a platform for veterans to connect, offer support through welfare and advocacy services, and participate in commemorative events like memorial services. It's not in the RSL's charter to build, own, relocate or destroy monuments. Their charter is to provide assistance and support to their returned servicemen and women. In 1929, G.W. Barnard once again chaired a committee which secured funds for the upkeep of the monument in time for the state's centenary celebrations. Returned soldiers were unquestionably among those at the meeting. The RSL called on the Shire to include the names of the fallen from World War II and contributed £25 towards the cost of a bronze plaque which was fitted in 1951. The Shire steam cleaned the stonework in 1963, again in 77, latterly applying gold to the lettering on the main body of the memorial, followed by an anti-graffiti coating. Granite slabs were added in 1984. I can't find any reference to a financial contribution by the RSL, however, naming errors occurring at this time are directly attributable to the RSL. There is no question the city should consult with members of the RSL regarding ceremonies to commemorate our war dead. That's respectful. However, they are not custodians of the historic war memorial. It belongs to the people, and the City of Busselton are responsible for its upkeep. I hasten to add that those of us who wish to pay tribute at the historic war memorial don't need to ask for your permission. The cenotaph and the flagpole belong to the people, and it's located in a public park. Our built environment is the product of socio-economic, cultural and political forces. It tells the story of who we are and it reflects our shared values. Unfortunately, like many communities today, we are losing these important markers of our identity, and modern architecture that disregards and fragments this historic dialogue that once defined our city. You cannot continue to let this happen to Busselton, please. During the unveiling of this memorial, G.W. Barnard poignantly stated that we must regard it as a sacred thing, to keep it pure and unsullied from generation to generation. Today, I echo that sentiment. It isn't just a matter of preserving a physical structure, it's about honouring the memory of those who served and ensuring that they're not forgotten. Caring for our historic war memorial is our responsibility as a community through you, our local government representatives. By beautifying the park surrounding it, we can create an inviting place that reflects the respect that we have for our past, while also welcoming future generations to engage with this important part of our history. As you consider this notice of motion, ask yourselves, is there truly a problem with two monument areas? I urge you, councillors, to support this initiative, make a commitment to safeguard our historic Anzac Memorial, ensuring its place in the heart of the city is upgraded to be strong and vibrant as a city spirit it represents in our city.
Thank you. Good timing. I now move on to item 8.1. The minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 23rd of April 2025 be confirmed as a true and correct record. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Ryan, seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Carried 7-0. Received no applications for leave of absence. Now move on to items brought forward and the adoption by exception resolution that the officer's recommendation for items 14.1, 14.2 and 15.2 be adopted en bloc. Do I have mover? Moved Councillor Kennedy, seconded Councillor Craig. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0. I now move on to item 15.1, which is the appointment of presiding and deputy presiding members to committees of council, requiring an absolute majority. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Lee, seconded Councillor McNeish. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried 7-0, absolute majority reached. Item 16.1 is the Alga National General Assembly 2025 attendance, and we have a few disclosures of interest. Mr. CEO, you can go first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I declare an impartiality interest in item 16.1 as I am the author of the report which recommends approving my attendance at the ALGA convention. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that the item has been prepared in a professional and impartial manner.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan.
I declare an impartiality interest in item 16.1 as the report recommends approving my attendance at the ALGA convention. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected, and I declare that I will consider the item solely on its merits and vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. I declare an impartiality interest on item 16.1 as the report recommends approving my attendance at the ALGA convention. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on this matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider the item solely on its merit and vote or act accordingly. Do I have a mover for the motion? Moved Councillor Lee, seconded Councillor Kennedy. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried 7-0. Thank you. We now move on to items for debate. Item 12.1. The officer recommendation is in front of you. Do I have a mover? Sorry, there is an alternative from Councillor McNeish as well. As the item was pulled by Councillor McNeish, this alternate will go first. Councillor McNeish, would you wish to put your motion?
Yes.
Or move?
Moved as written on the screen.
Thank you.
Happy that the public can now see it.
Thank you very much. And do we have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried 7-0. Thank you. Now move on to item 17.1, notice the motion, Busselton War Memorial. Councillor Ryan, would you wish to put your motion?
The motion as put.
Do I have a seconder for the motion? Seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being there opposition, Councillor Ryan, do you wish to speak to your motion?
I do, thank you. Councillors, I think staff have misconstrued the intent of this motion, and I apologise for any confusion. There is no need to usurp another project at this time that has been scheduled on our works calendar. I consider $25,000 will have a carryover or indeed not be necessary, because I'm sure it doesn't cost that much to do initial community consultation. Staff have stated the park does not lend itself to further uses due to the constraints of the site. This park is driven past probably by thousands each day, more when our tourists come to town. What does it say in relation to our entry statement? God forbid we have a green river which is uninspiring and quite depressing. What about having a park which is landscapes to the standard we have at the beachfront? Staff go on to say the park surrounding the old war memorial has limited use with occasional seating and low-level landscaping to shield the space from high volumes of vehicular traffic that pass on all four sides throughout the day. Let's make it inspiring. Officers understand and agree that the cenotaph is an important historical monument for the city. Tick.
and borrowed from a resident's email today, which I thought was extremely apt. She said, "The memorial holds deep historical and emotional significance for many members of our community. It stands not only as a tribute to those who served and sacrificed, but also as a symbol of our town's heritage and identity. Preserving the original memorial ensures the future generations can connect with this important part of our history in its authentic form. While development and progress are important, I believe they should not come at the cost of erasing or diminishing places of remembrance. I kindly urge the Council to prioritise the ongoing maintenance and respectful preservation of the original site, allowing it to remain a proud and solemn focal point." Councillors, it's not up to me to decide what the community considers appropriate for this small, unloved but visible park. I have heard options of a gazebo, an authentic cannon being relocated, gardens being upgraded, benches being installed, the wall removed, reworked, relocated, and all manner of ideas. But once again, let's put it out to the public, to our schools, our pioneers, our local Aboriginals, because they've all have a family history in the cenotaph and the wall too. The report suggests it is currently unclear what the likely aspirations of this park would be, so officers suggest a consultation process to be conducted with results subsequently workshopped with the council before a more detailed master plan scope is prepared. Yes, yes, and yes, let's do that. This is simply to call to the community to ensure the cenotaph and its surround are kept and respected in perpetuity for another 100 years. Respect for those that fought, died, or returned is certainly well earned, as can be seen every year on Anzac Day. Australia is still a democracy and we have our freedoms because of the sacrifice given by others. This is not about usurping the new memorial site. Look how beautiful and landscape that is. It is about the preservation of one that was built circa 106 years ago. And finally, the report tells us that the Heritage Council have advised they will not include the cenotaph on the State Heritage List. Quite frankly, I don't accept this, and I suggest the council and community should be outraged by this and lobby to have them reconsider, as the council resolved that it is a number 1 heritage site. Councillors, I urge you to support this notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Councillor Lee.
I'll reserve my right, thank you.
Thank you. Opposition? Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan, for bringing this motion to the attention of the council, and also thank you to the correspondence we've had and the presentations tonight. My main understanding is that the concern from the community is that cenotaph will deteriorate and it will be removed. But I can assure you, and councillors, that that is not going to happen. We have an asset management plan that ensures the longevity of all of our assets. So looking at this motion, it's about raising capital for a capital project. The motion suggests $25,000 to master plan the square. And I wouldn't think it's unreasonable to see about $250,000 to realise this master plan of the square. If we were to adopt this, we need to consider what's going to drop off the budget and the long-term financial plan. So looking at $250,000, we could envisage that something like the Dunsborough Park lights wouldn't go ahead, or the Beauvale sporting lights wouldn't go ahead. The city accommodates the entire community, and we must be mindful that we support all demographics and groups equally. Considering the War Memorial at Rotary Park of Remembrance was constructed just over a year ago, and the current infrastructure at Victoria Square is adequate, I cannot justify another major spend on war memorials at this moment. If we also look to the council plan, parks rated KZN, which is next to excellent. From an aesthetic perspective, I feel a modern take on the park will take away from its historical charm. You've got St Mary's Church next door. As you come into town, you've got the modern administration building and the Rotary Park, go across the river, and we've got this little heritage precinct. So I don't think a modernisation is going to do any favours there. A more appropriate time to upgrade and spend capital for Victoria Square will be closer to the end of life of the asset, and I feel that would be in a more also appropriate time for consultation. In closing, there's no emergent reason for this capital works and master plan, as the cenotaph is currently an asset that is being maintained optimally. It's not financially responsible, and it's not fair to other groups in the community that this project is prioritised. I encourage elected members to not support this motion as it is. Simply, if this was just to go to consultation, I'm open for that, but at this moment I'm not going to scrap together a foreshadowed motion because I'm pretty terrible at that. So thank you, councillors and Mayor, for listening.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Speaker 4. Councillor McNeish.
Thank you, sir. Some interesting words there. I picked up on unloved and visible. Yes, unfortunately, that's the case. A little unloved and massively visible. It is the historic entrance to our town. And I've been fortunate to have been to Gallipoli, Flanders and the Somme, and I can recommend it highly. If you ever get the chance, go to Polygon Wood. It is the most wonderful place to remember and honour the legacy, because everything is so neat, so proudly maintained. It just gave me goosebumps. I just walked there, fortunately for hours in the rain alone. Wonderful experience. And this is being the entrance to our town, historical entrance to our town. We must observe its cultural importance. So rather than be financially irresponsible, I think we need to be culturally responsible. And certainly if we can spend 55 million on a cultural icon down one end of the road, then at the top of the street, we can spend 25 grand listening to what the community would like to suggest we do. It might be nothing, it might be maintain, neaten up, whatever, but personally I'd love to see some reflection wall to give a little bit of silence to the traffic and look across that cenotaph, down the main street, and wonder what some returned servicemen or people who didn't come back might have been looking for in their memory. So I'd encourage you to vote for this well put together notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McNeish. Do I have a speaker against? The only reason I will rise is that, and I know that this will end up being quoted as being disrespectful, but I think that we do need to consider a number of things, and we are currently going through the budget. We allocate money responsibly as councillors and as elected members. Do you wish me to have a break? Thank you. We agreed, and the city agreed, to build a respectful place, a war memorial that is across the road, that received over 10,000 attendees at the Anzac Day, which is considerably more than we have ever seen in the previous park. This isn't actually a war memorial, it's a cenotaph. It is a Busselton soldiers memorial. And I think there is some confusion between where a war memorial should be, where it's a place to respect and a place to contemplate what happened during those awful, awful times of war, and to respect the servicemen where they are. That park has been kept across the road, the Rotary Park has been kept and maintained to that condition that we talked about, that has been raised here, respectfully. The RSL have also informed me that they will be looking after the old cenotaph. They will be respecting it and looking after it, but we need to also respect what we've built across the road as the War Memorial. People and times change. We can keep that there, but spending this sort of money, going out to community consultation, actually causes a rift between the community. We as councillors are here to make decisions, and we need to stick by those decisions. And I believe that what the RSL will do in looking after that monument is more than enough, and if not, we can look into that further. But otherwise, I feel that this motion is not called for. And I therefore ask that councillors do not vote for it. Thank you. Speaker 4.
Yep. Okay, where do I start? This is important. There is a cenotaph in every city and almost every town in this country. It's there for a reason. This goes to the heart of being Australian. It's not only a place of remembrance, but a place of respect, to use the Mayor's words, and a place of appreciation and remembrance for those who served in vile conflicts and lost their lives. I've got family members, excuse me. I have family members who did not return from war. This is important. We must maintain this. We must look after this. It is incumbent upon us to do it. It is part of what makes us Australian, and I don't know what else to say. I can't believe that I have to debate something like this. I encourage the council to support this notice of motion. We need to take responsibility for the cenotaph, just as those who fought in wars took responsibility for the freedoms that we enjoy today. We have the lifestyle in Australia today because of those men and women, and I thank them, and we need to stand up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Beecroft. Please. Speaker against? Speaker for? Councillor Lee, you've reserved your right.
And as in my previous contributions in debate, I will maintain my commitment to my words to wisdom ratio and keep my debate brief and succinct. I would just like to mention that Council Decision C2303/42.3, when we were discussing the War Memorial and moving it to Rotary Park, endorses Concept 2 as the preferred concept design and resolves to proceed with the construction of a new War Memorial at Rotary Park while retaining the existing cenotaph in Victoria Square. When discussions were on foot, it was identified by engineers that the cenotaph would not withstand the moving process. To retain the existing cenotaph may come with associated costs, and a budget needs to be allocated. It doesn't seem to be that difficult, I didn't think. The upgrades to Rotary Park for the new memorial should be celebrated for the success that they are, but that doesn't mean you throw the old stuff out for the new. I would just like to acknowledge and thank Mrs Stubbs and Mrs Shackleton for both highlighting just a few examples of where we lose significant historical items in our town if it's not mandated that we take care of them. So I think it's wise to ask the community what they want. It might just need to be, as Councillor McNish said, a nice quiet place to reflect. The RSL is very important. It's very important that we maintain the recognition of our servicemen and women that didn't return, and that is something very close to my heart, having served in emergency services, and we are very well aligned with the RSL. It's important that we remember those who've died protecting what we have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Your right of reply, Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure, Councillor Kennedy, where the $250,000 come from. That's just an arbitrary figure. Until we go out to a community consultation, we will never know. And thank you, Councillor McNish. It has the opportunity of being a wonderful entry statement along with the new memorial over the road. And I disagree that the cenotaph is being maintained optimally. It isn't. There is no suggestion that the memorial wall be removed or changed or whatever until and when we get the results in from the community of what they want. And I don't know how you consider, Mayor, that it will divide the community again. I don't understand that. We have an opportunity, a fantastic opportunity, to go to our school children, to go to primary and high school, to go to the senior sets, to ask the whole community what they want, what they'd like to see in that space.
This is a reminder of your rebuttal, not an opportunity to continue debate.
I don't think I have anything further to say. I'd like to put it to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Therefore, I put the motion. All those in favour? So it's Councillor Ryan, Councillor Lee, Councillor Kay, Councillor McNish and Councillor Beecroft. Those against, Mayor Cronin and Councillor Kennedy. Moved on to the next item. Thank you very much. Move on to item 19. We have reports of a confidential nature in accordance with section 5.232C of the Local Government Act 1995. In order to maintain confidentiality of these items, I will seek a decision to close the meeting to members of the public and all staff. Do I have a mover to close the meeting to the public? Moved, Councillor Craig, seconded, Councillor Lee. All those in favour? Motion carried 7-0. I will now ask members of the 1, 2, 3. Just for the public, that the motion put in front, 19.1. Oh, sorry, we're not opening. Okay, we're now streaming again. Just to let the public know that the recommendation, notice the motion for the strategic plan facilitation Busselton Margaret River Airport was carried 7-0. Thank you. Therefore, being no other items, the next ordinary council meeting will be on Wednesday, the 28th of May, 2025, and I now declare this meeting closed at 18:42. Thank you for your attendance, everyone. And I've invited the, have you stopped recording?